Hi, welcome. In this video, I'd like to discuss why it is that you cannot have a normal, conversation in the dog training world regarding what the real issue is. Okay, I'm going to go over some of these reasons. And a lot of it has to do with the fact of this being an ideology, a belief system. And people's very identities are intertwined in this ideology. I want to make that very clear. So there's a level of emotion, people's emotions get kind of triggered. And so again, when you start to talk about the real issue in the dog training world, all these type of narratives start to get pushed forward about, dog abuse, science of dog training, in labeling other dog trainers as uneducated, ill-informed, just all sorts of nasty stuff that really is put out there. But the thing to understand here again is understanding that you're not just dealing with some sort of you look at science and being able to talk through things or come out the other side. But here you're dealing with relationships, Even though it's with dogs, people get very heated up regarding this issue because they have attached certain ideas to this relationship, and the emotions really kind of play a part in this. Even, this is the thing, I'm not just talking about dog owners, I'm talking about the trainers, I'm talking about these dog behavioralists who push forward these narratives. And again, you never get to the core issue. But again, you think about relationships, also think about the issue about parenting. Just if you've ever encountered a very permissive parent, who's really has a codependent type of relationship with the child, and if you've ever encountered a problem or a relationship issue with the child maybe even as a spouse, a family member, you'll know what I'm talking about, trying to actually address the issue, and the focus changes, right? Because the person, that parent who is basically mirroring their emotions and, almost like want to put it like a protective force field around that child, and they don't want that child brought under any sort of authority. They have a certain idea about parenting, and what happens is it becomes very destructive, This type of dynamic really gets very heated up very quickly. In fact, people get divorced over this stuff, it gets very crazy because again, it's almost like it takes on a level of an intervention. But ultimately, here's the thing to think about: the real issue never gets fixed. It becomes about the other person, right? Everything gets directed at the other person, and the same holds true what's happening in the dog training world. People wonder why the focus shifts. The real issue doesn't get talked about, and all these dogs are taking the hit, right? And just like the child, as the child gets older, someone else takes the hit, The police have to get involved, or they're in conflict with, the norms of society because they've never had to face reality, They didn't, growth never happened, maturity never happened. It got delayed because of the interference level of that parent. Well, the same thing, interference is happening. This quarterback type of mentality is happening with this ideology by way of those who aggressively defend it, promote it, try to get other people to come into agreement with it. So they're not just happy with the fact that it doesn't work good at all for them. I said it's true. That it's a train wreck, right? They have to try to force it down other people's throats. And so, just so people understand, this is the culture. This is what's happening in the dog training world. So very interesting. Again, when you talk about, why you can't have a normal discussion, it all breaks down at a certain level. Once you start to get into the kind of the nuts and bolts of it, that's where we're at in the dog training world. So again, you always have to understand, if you think for a second that you're going to have a normal conversation, you're not. But I would encourage people at least be equipped, with the right information, because here's the thing. If you have the right information, you're not going to engage in this conversation with people anyway, just like I do. I just put the information out. I'm not going to get into a discussion because I already understand what's happening at a very deep level. So there's no point in it. I'm just putting information out so that dog owners can make an informed decision. I'm bypassing these, you know, quarterback type of mentality with these dog trainers who are basically the permissive parent. Okay, so I'm basically jumping over that and saying, okay, here you are, you know, dog owners. Here's the information. Here's what's going on. Now you can make a informed decision. Don't expect, you know, this to get fixed on its own through the dog training world. Okay, this is something that is, you know, beyond that. Okay, kind of policing itself or kind of coming out of it. This is going to be part of the public beginning to, you know, hammer away at this and really force the issue, which is what's going to happen. So anyways, I want to put it out there, this thing about what's going on. It's kind of multi-layered. The dynamics really, how they play off each other, it really aligns in many ways to certain scenarios in parenting and in the human world. And again, if you're looking for a resolution or having a normal conversation, again, just understand what you're dealing with. Again, I encourage you at least have the right information. So, you know, you want to kind of that's why any conversation I have with someone promoting this ideology isn't going to last more than 1 minute, because there is no debate. All right, I just get right to the core issue here of what they're doing, how they're exploiting this narrative, and that's it. Okay, and then they just go into their talking points, and that's a waste of time. And this is why, again, you know, you're wasting your time. Once you really understand what these people are doing, you're wasting your time. And this whole thing about balance training, well, we'll talk about that in some other videos. Okay, that's just a state of confusion. But anyway, just something to think about. If you want to understand these issues, once you understand them, you'll be able to see through it all, even these narratives that are put forward by the other side. So thanks for watching.